to be.
If it does come down to pitching, presumably these pitches of Orlando Hernandez warming up is not something that a Boston Red Sox fan...
Well, no, it's the numbers. And we mentioned there, I mean, look at that ERA for 3 games for the New York Yankees. I mean, it's outstanding. But nothing you can do about it. Again, the confidence, they know they can win at Yankee Stadium. They also know that they hit him around. We saw pretty good in his 3rd start against them. So, you know, they're not worried about it. This just seems to be a team with not a lot of cares in the world right now. They got through a series that really most people have been writing them off after.
Lead-off batter, and as we've seen already, Orlando Hernandez, the man on the mound. This is Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. We can now join our match commentators, Joe Buck, Bob Brenly, and Tim McCarver.
This evening, the Yankees and the Red Sox underway with a strike. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television.
A word of warning, do not try this at home.
He even raises up on that right toe as he lifts that left leg way up above his chest.
Already a discussion at the plate as the home plate umpire Tim McClellan comes out from behind the catcher Posada. Talks to Jose Offerman, and now Jimmy Williams is out to try to figure out what the two are talking about.
I think what may have happened was that Offerman called timeout to step out of the box, but Orlando Hernandez was already in his windup ready to deliver it. And McClellan just saying, make sure you call timeout a little earlier next time.
So the first pitch is strike, and now the second of the night from the right-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talked about trying to win his first 4 postseason games for Hernandez. A total of 22 innings pitched in the postseason. He's allowed only 11 hits and 1 run the last 2 postseasons, this year and last, as that gets out of play in the count 1-2 on Offerman. And already out to talk to Hernandez is Posada.
A lot of talking going on here early.
Hernandez, who won Game 1 of the division series with 8 shutout innings against the Rangers. Only 2 hits allowed. And then that terrific Game 4 start last year in Cleveland in the ALCS. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Offerman. Valentin will follow, then Daubach. Offerman lines one into center and a base hit to start the night for the Red Sox. Well, the offense already off to a good start for the Boston Red Sox. I guess something's got to give. As you look at the Red Sox hitting against the Indians, 47 runs total, a .318 team average, 10 home runs, 28 extra base hits. And the Yankees pitching against the Rangers as it was last year in the division series, absolutely dominating. Here's Valentin. John, 7 out of 22 in that division series against Cleveland. A check on Offerman, who has not stolen a base yet in the postseason, stole 18 during the regular season. Crowd awful quiet here at the start. As the first pitch brought into Valentin, ground ball left side, Jeter throws it into right field. Offerman will head to third, might score. They'll bring him to the plate. He'll score without a play, and over to third is Valentin. It's 1-0 Boston here in the first inning. Jeter, a terrific play to get to that ball. We've seen him make that play numerous times, but as he leapt and threw, he threw it wild, and the Red Sox have a first inning lead.
Sometimes the second baseman on a play like that has to become a first baseman with the stretch. It looked to me like Knobloch was locked and couldn't cross over. The ball thrown to his right. Had both feet been on the bag, he'd have been a lot more flexible in going to his right. But that crossover step, and Knobloch couldn't at least block the ball.
Yeah, nice job of running by Jose Offerman to immediately recognize the bad throw, hit the bag at second, round third, and come right on in home, waved home by third base coach Wendell Kim.
And now it's Valentin at third with nobody out. There's a fly ball into right for a base hit off the bat of Daubach, and the Red Sox have not slowed down since the division series. First 3 hitters have reached. It's 2-0 Boston here in the first inning, and still nobody out. Just to give you the scoring on the ball hit by Valentin, it's a fielder's choice E6. Valentin now scores on the RBI hit by Daubach.
Daubach got jammed a little bit on this fastball inside part of the plate, hit it down around the trademark. You saw him come off the bat with that top hand, try to drag it through with the bottom hand. Was able to dunk it out there in front of Paul O'Neill.
Pedro Martinez in his reaction over on the dugout bench already having fun, and why not? The Red Sox jump out in front, now have their best hitter at the plate, Garcia-Parra.
And Cleveland Indians fans are all watching this telecast saying, don't intentionally walk him.
On deck is O'Leary, who did end the Indians during the division series, at least in Game 5. Garcia-Parra out in front, 1 ball, 1 strike.
After 2 intentional walks to Nomar Garcia-Parra on 2 pitches, a grand slam home run by Troy O'Leary. The next time up, a 3-run homer.
And in Garcia-Parra's next at bat, they chose to pitch to him, and he doubled off the wall in left field. So
and then walked O'Leary intentionally.
The 1-1 pitch, Garcia-Parra, little off balance, pops it into left field. Spencer back to get it, and that is the first out here in the first inning. Runner at first with 1 out. The batter will be O'Leary. 2 big swings of the bat in that Game 5. Just talked about the grand slam, the 3-run home run, 28 home runs during the regular season. You can see the average not great. He was only 4 out of 20 in that division series, but he made 2 big swings count. 1 on, 1 out. And O'Leary takes ball 1. Orlando Hernandez has already given up more runs in this first inning than he had in 22 previous innings pitched during the postseason. The 1-0 to Troy O'Leary. 2 balls, no strikes.
Last year, the Yankees winning 114 games. They won 11 of 13 in the postseason for 125 wins. And you might say, how can any game be a big game? But Game 4 of the ALCS was the biggest game of the year for the Yankees, and it was won by El Duque against the Cleveland Indians.
3 balls, no strikes now on O'Leary. Runner at first is Daubach, only 1 out here in the first inning. And that misses for ball 4 to put 2 on. So it's 2 on with only 1 out. 2 runs already home, and here is ball 4 that missed the outside corner to Troy O'Leary. So a stunning beginning here in the first inning, at least to these Yankee fans who pack in here and usually are as loud as any group we come across. We were just in Cleveland at Jacobs Field on Monday night for that Game 5. They were just shaking Jacobs Field with the noise they were making. Here tonight, at least at the start, eerily quiet. 2 on, 1 out. Time called at the plate. Mike Stanley is the hitter. He wore the Yankee pinstripes from 92 to 95 and again in 97. And Hernandez doesn't appear too comfortable here in the first inning as he steps off again.
He'll try to change the rhythm of the ball game. Red Sox hitters are almost running up to the batter's box right now, the way they've been swinging the bats in this postseason.
2 on, 1 out. Stanley pops it into right. O'Neill back at the track, at the wall to make the catch. The runners tag. Only 1 advances. That's Daubach to third, and it's first and third, 2 down.
Usually, when a pitcher tries to change the pace of a ball game, he speeds it up. Hernandez elected to slow it down. That did not slow down Mike Stanley. A good low ball hitter who can flat hit the ball the other way and out of this ballpark here at Yankee Stadium. Only 314 down the line, 345 into the position, and 385 to right center field. So a real left-handed hitter or right-handed hitter with power the other way is dream.
So runners at the corners, 2 out. And the batter is the switch hitting catcher Jason Varitek. Little pop-up should end along top of the first. Knobloch in getting over, but not before damage is done by the Red Sox. Showing no signs of slowing down against El Duque. Get a couple and lead by 2 after a half.
That one. But the 3 walks is key because this Yankee lineup we're going to have a look at right now, very patient, and they're going to force Kent Merker to throw a lot of pitches. Chuck Knobloch didn't hit well against Texas, but he did hit well against the Red Sox this year. Led the Yankees with 4 home runs against Boston this year. I think he hit 3 straight home runs leading off games against the Red Sox in a series. Still, the key, I think, is Jeter. Keep him off bases. You can really, I think, have a lot easier time of trying to pitch to the Yankees. O'Neill, with the lefty on the mound, will have to see how the Ribs respond. Bernie Williams, you mentioned, home run, 6 RBIs in that first round against Texas. Chili Davis, because of the lefty on the mound, he's the DH, the switch hitter, and Darryl Strawberry will probably see come off the bench later on. Tino Martinez, another guy, struggled in the first round against Texas. You can say that about most of them. I like the fact that they've dropped Scott Brocious down in the order to 9th, because that's where he hit most of the postseason last year. You remember when he was the MVP of that postseason. Jeter did not hit very well against the Red Sox in the regular season, we should point out. Tino Martinez did 10 RBIs to lead the Yankees. So yeah, they're not hitting the ball very well at the moment, but I think a combination of the Red Sox pitching and just how much talent they have in this batting order might be enough to shake them out of the doldrums a little bit.
And it just strikes me that's the tradition of them as well. Okay, thanks, Dono. Back to the action, bottom of the first.
You mentioned the fiasco game. That would be the 23-7 game 4.
Yes, good guess. Yeah.
Made the start, couldn't go 2 innings, but his teammates picked him up. Eventually the pitching was good enough, and it set up game 5, which the Red Sox won 12-8. Knobloch takes ball 2.
Don't look for Knobloch to swing until he gets 1 strike.
Yankees would like to get their home crowd right back into the game. A 2-run first inning for the Red Sox is quieted this usually boisterous crowd in the Bronx. There's a strike, and it's 2-1. Knobloch, then Jeter, then O'Neill in the first inning for the Yankees. 2-0 to 2-2. Knobloch set a career high with 18 home runs during the regular season, had only 2 hits in the division series. They didn't need much offense to advance to take on the Red Sox. Joe Torre's pitching staff allowed only 1 run to the Texas Rangers. The 2-2. Do it again.
When Chuck Knobloch hits the ball hard on the ground, or line drives, of course, he's hitting well. The one problem that he had for about a 6-week period this year was dropping that back shoulder and hitting lazy fly balls to right field. Chris Chambliss, the hitting instructor of the Yankees, continually trying to remind Knobloch to stay on top of the ball when he swings. There's Chris.
The 2-2 is popped up. With that back shoulder dip down as Veritek goes back, gives it a look, struggles and can't make the catch. A pop-up should have been handled. A lot of wind here at Yankee Stadium at the moment, and Knobloch gets a second life here in the first inning.
Well, the wind pushed that ball back away from the stands. You see Veritek backpedaling, gets a glove on it. And once you start that backpedal motion, you're going to have a hard time getting the good part of the glove on that ball, and it hits down in the heel of the glove and pops out of Jason Veritek's mitt.
Ground caused the fumble, and Veritek commits the error. It is an error. It's another 2-2 pitch, and Knobloch fouls this one back and out of play. Is he doing the old dip and rip?
Yep, he surely is. A dip and rip. That dip in that back shoulder. He's done it his last 3 swings, making contact. You can see it right there. Now watch on contact where the back shoulder is. Pretty level on that one. But when you hit that ball up, that is a bad sign. Those lazy fly balls the other way and right side of the infield.
Another 2-2 pitch to Knobloch is popped down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair into the corner. It is foul. A foul ball by 6, 7, 8 feet, and Knobloch, instead of a leadoff home run for the Yankees, will see yet another 2-2 pitch.
That was a different type of dip and rip then.
Well, that lift in his swing may be a byproduct of playing in the Homer Dome up in Minnesota for 7 years, where you can lift the ball in the air and get some cheap home runs. But Knobloch, a much more valuable player to his offense, as you mentioned, when he's hitting the ball on the ground, hitting line drives.
9th pitch of this at bat coming here, and again it's a 2-2 delivery from Merker. And a little ground ball and a changeup. Garcia-Parra gets a tricky hop, one away. You remember the discussion between Jose Offerman and the home plate umpire. Let's find out what was going on. Steve Lyons joins us.
Guys, after the first pitch of the ballgame, that was a strike to Jose Offerman. El Duque took a white handkerchief out of his back pocket and wiped his mouth off. Offerman was questioning the legality of that, and then El Duque took it back out of his pocket and shook it at him a few times as if to taunt him. Then he gave up the line drive up the middle and consequently gave up 2 more runs in the inning. Back to you guys.
All right, Steve.
One thing it wasn't was a flag of truce.
What do we have? We have 2 analysts, 1 play-by-play guy, and not one of the 3 of us saw that.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
It's just good hygiene using a handkerchief out there. Most guys use their sleeve.
Here's a pitch inside for a ball to Jeter. The number 2 hitter for the Yankees, and what a year he had. That is not the handkerchief draped around the shoulders of El Duque. That's the towel version as he watches with 1 out, nobody on. Jeter pop it foul. Already a better start to this one for Merker. It seems like a nothing statement, but here in the first inning to battle Knobloch and throw 9 pitches and eventually get him on a ground ball and a changeup is a minor victory for Merker here to start his night. Dave Winfield, former colleague and obviously a longtime Yankee, joining us here at Yankee Stadium as Jeter is jammed in the count 1-2.
First breaking ball that Merker has thrown. That's that slider in on the fist of Derek Jeter. Derek fouling it off his left foot.
That's a pitch that Merker really needs to set up well, working in and out with the fastball, then to come back with the breaking ball, put it in a good location. Jeter could only foul it off his leg.
Talked to Merker yesterday. I said, do you get nervous before a start like this? He said, what's to get nervous about? If I stink, I stink. If I'm good, great. I'm a hero. Here's a foul backing out of play, and the count's still 1-2.
It's almost the team attitude of the Red Sox. They're playing with the house's money.
That's what Jimmy Williams told us before the ball game today. You can't be afraid to fail. Go out there and play the game the way you have all year. Have a little fun, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jeter. And that misses inside, 2-2. Paul O'Neill on deck. Merker made his name with the Atlanta Braves, was always the 5th guy in that rotation when they had Avery and Smoltz and Glavine and eventually Maddox. Now a full count on Jeter. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, watching as Merker lost the edge with this hitter. It was 1-2. Now it's 3-2. And a 1-out walk. Yesterday, sitting down with Merker, we talked to him and got his feelings on tape, his thoughts of starting game 1.
I'm looking forward to it, you know. I think I need to bring a slingshot and a pebble out there with me. I'll be David and try to slay Goliath.
Biblical reference, and in a way, that's how Merker is looking at this start. Nothing wrong with a guy going out there and trying to beat the odds and beat a team that's supposed to beat up on him. 1 ball, 1 on, 1 out, and the first pitch coming to Paul O'Neill with Bernie Williams to follow. And a strike from Merker.
Now, Merker in his time with the Red Sox, 12 stolen bases attempted against him. Only 3 were successful. He has that ability to freeze the runner over there at first base. A slight hesitation at the top of his leg lift.
And there's a look at Jeter, just what you talk about. Derek read it easily. was a decision to be made by the Yankees with regard to Paul O'Neill, whether he would be physically able to play in this series. The broken right rib, he's jammed, and he fouls it out of play left side. We go back to Saturday, October 2nd. St. Petersburg, Florida, against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. In this effort, the Yankees already well out in front in the American League East. October 2nd, the division was already wrapped up. And yet this effort, which is exactly why he is as valuable in the clubhouse as a leader as he is on the field for the Yankees. As a precautionary measure, Shane Spencer added to the roster for Joe Torre. Both are in the starting lineup here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Paul O'Neill.
I think Ken Merker would be better served in going to the weakness of Paul O'Neill right now. When you have a broken rib, you're not as apt to have as quick a bat. And pitching him inside instead of outside, in my opinion, would be the best way to work Paul until you see him swing a couple of times.
To the right side, Offerman knocks it down, flips it wide, and safe is O'Neill.
Breaking ball and a base hit, but a play that Offerman could clearly make. The ball hit the heel of the glove, and from the seat of his pants, he made the throw. He really had more time than he thought he had.
He had plenty of time to at least get into a more balanced position to make the throw. You see the ball hit off the heel of the glove. Fortunately for Offerman, it stays right there. At this point, he had enough time to make a better balanced throw onto Mike Stanley. You can see Paul O'Neill just now coming into your picture.
So Jose Offerman, who made an error in Game 2 of the division series against the Indians, which led to a big inning. It's ruled a base hit, but clearly could have made a better throw, had much more time than he thought. We go back to Game 2, and looked like Sandy Alomar Jr. had grounded into a routine double play until that throw. And the Indians went on to an 11-1 victory at home over the Red Sox. Now it's 2 on with 1 out for Bernie Williams. And a comebacker to Merker. Thought about going to third, but ends up throwing to first for the second out of the inning.
Joe, I think he thought about going to third and then second and finally went to first. He did have a play on Paul O'Neill. Paul hit the deck early at second base and never reached second base when he slid. Merker with 1 out, trying to make sure of 1. Watch him look at third, now second, now first. But Paul O'Neill, meanwhile, was sliding and was 4 feet from second base when Kent elected to go to first.
And I think because he checked third base first, and being a left-handed pitcher, his back was turned to the runner going from first to second. He never really did see how close or how far O'Neill was from the bag at second.
And now Chili Davis with a base hit could tie this game. It's 2-0 Red Sox in the first inning. Runners on at second and third, 2 out. And a strike over the outside corner.
As Merker looked at third, then second, Paul O'Neill hits the deck. He thinks he's out. And now the last step.
I can't feel too good with a broken rib either to hit the ground as hard as Paul O'Neill did right there.
Chili Davis could tie it with a hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. (1,372) career RBIs for Chili Davis, who is playing in his 4th league championship series. Merker with a 1-1 pitch. Had him off balance with a changeup, and now Chili Davis in the hole, 1-2.
That changeup for Merker not nearly as effective from the stretch. Martinez on deck. You don't have the lower part of the body deceiving the hitter like you do from the windup.
And that's part of the problem Merker had in his start in the division series. He was really slowing his motion down on the changeup. The Cleveland hitters could see it coming, even though many times it wasn't in the strike zone. They were ready to hit off-speed pitches.
Changeup and a line drive. Caught. Nomar Garcia-Parra just saved 2 runs. Garcia-Parra at the top of his leap. What an athlete. What a catch. He just saved 2 runs. 2-0 Boston after 1.
If you had a chance to sit back and wait, but you don't. You've got to make the plays. You deal with reaction. They got lucky on the Garcia-Parra, made a tremendous play. If he's an inch shorter, it's 2-all. You can't afford to give up outs. You've got to almost play a perfect game defensively against the Yankees.
Okay, well, they still have the 2-0 lead. Let's rejoin the action. Top of the second.
1 ball, 1 strike from Hernandez.
And Lewis, very much an opposite field hitter. Knobloch cheating over a little bit toward the hole between first and second. Bernie Williams in center, shaded a couple of steps over into the gap in right center.
That's strike 2. Take a look at the defense for the Yankees. Play him accordingly. And he's a guy that you watched with the San Francisco Giants. Now he's played with the Cincinnati Reds. And he, by the way, is the only player in the Red Sox lineup tonight that has any experience in LCS play. He has a grand total of 1 at bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Hernandez. Trot Nixon will follow, and then back to Offerman. 2-2. Take a look at David Cohn, who did not pitch in the division series. He was scheduled to pitch game 4. There was no game 4, so he will work in game 2 of this LCS tomorrow night. And now it's a full count on Darren Lewis leading off. David Cohn will hook up with Pedro's older brother. He's relegated to that title for the rest of his life. Ramon Martinez. He will pitch game 2 for Boston. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Lewis takes a leadoff walk. He had Lewis set up. He loses Darren Lewis, and that's the second walk handed out by Hernandez.
Where he lost Darren Lewis in that sequence wasn't the 3-2 fastball. It was the 2-2 breaking ball. Lewis has a very difficult time on that inside fastball, and just to throw 2 breaking balls in a row, 1-2 and 2-2, then you make him be perfect on the 3-2 pitch. Darren Lewis, more than any other Red Sox, is a guy you have to challenge with the fastball.
So Lewis on to start the inning, and the batter is Nixon. He takes a ball low.
A lot of things Jimmy Williams can do right now. Wendell Kim, the third base coach, looking in the dugout. The Sox up by 2. You're more inclined to take chances when you're up. Good hit and run situation here.
And one of the better Red Sox base runners on first base in Darren Lewis.
So a check on Lewis over at first. Darren Lewis at 62% during the regular season, 16 out of 26. Red Sox up by a couple here in the second inning. Hernandez is really fishing for some sort of rhythm here at the start.
You're right, Joe. He's too tentative. He's slowing it down too much. A lot of times catchers can solve that problem by flashing the signs down a little quicker.
2 balls, no strikes on Nixon after a leadoff walk. And Nixon was ready to unload, and he fouls it back 2-1.
If as a catcher you put down a tentative sign, you're going to get a tentative pitch.
There's a natural delay before giving the sign. Posada will look over to the Yankees bench to get a sign from over there, whether they want El Duque to throw to first, perhaps a pitch out, perhaps a step off.
Two balls, 1 strike, and a look at Lewis. Jorge Posada, who works with Orlando Hernandez start after start after start. So if there's anybody who knows Hernandez on this Yankee team, it's Jorge Posada.
Fastball inside right here.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss at the plate, and down to second is Lewis. Stolen base for Darren Lewis, and that's his second of this postseason.
Don't know whether that was the hit and run or the straight steal. Darren Lewis choosing the right pitch on which to steal. That inside fastball, the catcher's blocked out of that play. And Trot Nixon's check swing adds to the difficulty in making a throw.
So now these two try to figure out a way to get a 2-2 pitch. Past Trot Nixon. Runner at second, nobody out. Into shallow right center field, a long run, and it bounces in front of Williams. They will hold Lewis at third, and it's first and third with nobody out. Talked about the working relationship between Jorge Posada and Orlando Hernandez. Here are his thoughts on catching the Cuban-born right-hander.
5 starters is the toughest to figure out if he's going to be, on that night, because he's always the same. He goes to the bullpen. He's always the same. He's always early. He's always ready to, get his work down there in the bullpen. And, you catch him in the bullpen, and he's always the same.
Well, these two trying to figure it out here in the early innings, and already the Red Sox lead by a couple, have 2 on with nobody out. And have the top of the order up, Jose Offerman. Singled his first time, later scored, and he takes ball 1.
If you're the runner at third base with nobody out and a runner on at first, the one thing that you try to keep in mind, you do not want this a situation after a ground ball to be first and second and 1 out. So what you have to do is determine the speed of the ground ball that's hit. If it's a chopper toward third, the only play for a guy like Brocious, for instance, will be 1 out. So you have to stay there. If it's a hard hit ball, then Brocious or Jeter or Knobloch will try to go for 2. It's almost like a car pulling out to a stop sign and determining the speed of the car coming towards you as to whether you go or not.
Well, as we approach 9 o'clock here in the East in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium, it's Game 1 of this ALCS. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brentley with you. And the Red Sox, who had scored 21 runs in their last 44 innings coming in to this Game 1, got 2 in the first inning, and they have 2 more on with nobody out here in the second. They're trying to go 2 an inning, trying to add to their Game 1 lead. Runners at the corners with nobody out, and Offerman ahead on the count, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1. So much said about this series between the Red Sox and the Yankees coming in. The Red Sox, who with runners in scoring position, are hitting .469 during this postseason. Asking for a hit from Offerman. Reaching for it, to the plate comes Lewis, and it's a base hit, an infield hit. They throw behind Nixon, safe, and it's 3-0 Boston in the second inning. Just a little clunker to the left side, and after it got past Brocious, Jeter had no play.
Well, Jeter was actually decoyed by Brocious. He thought Scott was going to continue to come, cut the ball off, and make the play. And there's a change of direction on Jeter. He had to go back to his right. Watch.
Yeah, Jeter had started to move toward third base since Brocious had evacuated that position. Jeter was on his way over to cover third base. When Brocious let the ball go, you'll watch Jeter change directions. He'll start in on the ball. When he sees Brocious start to make the play, he heads for third and then has to retrace his steps to make the play, and they cannot get it out.
And now it's first and second with nobody out, and the hitter is Valentin, who reaches for it and pops it up. Waiting for it, Bernie Williams, and that is a big out for the Yankees here in the second. So 2 on, 1 out. The number 3 hitter, Brian Daubach, has a chance. He singled home a run in the first inning. And we started to talk about this series and what we will lay out for you during this ALCS between Boston and New York. The rivalry and the history between these two clubs. A rich history of the Boston Red Sox, rich history of the New York Yankees, and they are intertwined throughout this century. Don Zimmer, who's now the right-hand man for Joe Torre, was the manager of the Red Sox with that collapse in 1978. Boston Massacre, and eventually the home run by Bucky Dent in the one-game playoff. 2 on, 1 out. And Daubach fouls it away, strike 1. Garcia-Parra waits on deck.
Red Sox being very aggressive early in the count. First pitch, if that ball is near the strike zone, whether it's a fastball, a breaking ball, a changeup, Red Sox hitters are just looking for anything in the strike zone on that first pitch, and they're letting the bats go.
Daubach, a 27-year-old rookie. Fouls another, strike 2.
Brian would love to have that one back. He just missed that fastball. Red Sox could not be in a better position. They have 2 on, 1 out, and the hitters that hit Hernandez the best, Daubach and Garcia-Parra this year, have a chance to whack.
Daubach, who struggled during the month of September, did hit 21 home runs during the regular season. Was one of the Red Sox fans' favorite. Jim Rice watching. This crowd finally makes some noise. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. 1 and 2.
Bob, you were talking about it between innings. You said the crowd here was shocked, just like the Yankee players.
I absolutely think so. They were up very much before the ball game, but after that first inning, when the Red Sox put that 2 spot on the board, it got very quiet.
Quiet here, loud in New England.
There's the one guy making noise in this park. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Daubach fouls another. You have the buildup, the anticipation for a series. Now it's finally here. The visiting team comes out and scores 2 runs. An error mixed in the first inning. You have this pitching matchup of El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, against Ken Merker, a guy who couldn't go 2 innings in his start on Sunday night. You think blowout. Right now it's 3-0 Red Sox as Daubach pops it up. Third base side for Brocious. 2 gone.
See Daubach hitting at the top of his helmet with the bat. That's the one thing Hernandez has to do, is come inside the left-handed batters and try to prevent them from leaning out over the plate. He crowded Daubach with that neck-high fastball to get him out.
And now Garcia-Parra, who made that leaping catch to end the first inning. The tying runs in scoring position moments ago. Now he bats with runners at first and second, 2 out. American League batting champion waits and pops it up into left field. Pretty well hit, but Spencer back near the track. And it's only a 1-run second inning for the Red Sox. Put their first 3 on, get only 1, leave 2, and after an inning and a half, 2-0 Boston. 3-0 Boston, rather.
Want that runner, at least one of the runners, and primarily the guy at second base, to get over to third so you can get a cheap base hit with a sac fly or a ground ball to stay out of the double play. But they got the one. See, they're not going to argue too much. At least they got a run, 1 run to make the lead 3. But here's that Yankees bottom of the order coming up here. That really was one of the strengths of them last year that carried them to the World Series.
It's so hot with the bat in the regular season too, Martinez, but cold as hell in the moment.
Yeah, has not ever hit very well in the postseason, especially you can see with those numbers in the American League Championship Series.
Let's see whether he can do anything tonight. Not on the second.
Rather tame atmosphere, and I know we've talked about it a couple of times already, but for Kent Merker, it is very different from what he expected coming into this game. Martinez pops it into right. Waiting for it is Nixon. Tino just did get under it, and Nixon makes the catch, 1 away. We go to the thoughts of Kent Merker about coming in and pitching here at Yankee Stadium.
It's going to be loud, you know, and I know they're going to be on me, but you know what, as a player, I mean, it motivates you. If you don't let it get to you, you can use it, you know, to your advantage. And like I said, I've never had to face that out here, but we'll find out tonight.
Well, he's finding out, and by his teammates getting him a couple of runs early. He has, at least at the moment, taken the crowd out of it. Posada with 1 out, nobody on, batting. Switch hitting catcher takes the ball.
I'll tell you, if I was a starting pitcher, I'd rather have my motivation from 3 runs in the first 2 innings than a loud crowd.
Merker got the 3, and he's pitched rather well with the lead. He did walk Jeter in the first inning. Allowed a hit by O'Neill. Misses here with a changeup, and he's 2-0 on Posada.
Merker, even though he has a 3-run lead, continues to pitch like it's a tie ball game. Good sign, especially early.
Chopper to short, high hop for Garcia-Parra. 2 up, 2 down here in the second inning for the Yankees. I think unless you see Garcia-Parra on a day-by-day basis, there's not much made about his arm strength, but I don't see many shortstops that get the ball to first any harder or any quicker than Nomar Garcia-Parra.
Garcia-Parra might be the fastest pitcher that Mike Stanley's ever caught from shortstop.
And keep in mind, he's doing it with a bum right wrist. He was plunked on that wrist back on September 25th by Al Reyes of the Baltimore Orioles. Had to miss a game in the division series because of that right wrist, showing no ill effects on the throws across the infield here tonight.
The right wrist taped as Spencer takes low for ball 1. Shane Spencer, who became an instant hero down the stretch last year and then carried that on with 2 home runs in the division series against the Rangers in 1998. He's not active for this past division series, and he is activated and tonight in the lineup. A broken right rib, part of Paul O'Neill, forced Joe Torre to buy a little insurance by putting Spencer on the list. Puts it foul, 2-1.
That is a dangerous pitch to an inside hitter when you're behind in the count. You could see Jason Varitek sitting up inside. Shane Spencer is an inside hitter. Some guys like the ball down, others like it up. But Shane Spencer likes it inside, up or down.
2 out with the bases empty, and the 2-1 pitch is grounded to third, foul.
Shane Spencer and the man who was retired right before him, Jorge Posada, the 2 Yankees in the lineup tonight who hit better against left-handed pitching than they do right-handed pitching. Some of the numbers are very comparable, as you might imagine, for Derek Jeter, but Spencer and Posada, 2 guys that wear out left-handed pitching.
So Merker looking for a perfect second inning. He's 2-2 on Spencer. And with a changeup, had him out in front. Spencer just did get a piece. Merker trying to do what he couldn't do. He made that game 4 start in Boston for the Red Sox, and that is complete 2 innings. 1 strike away from doing just that. Spencer pops it down the right field line, slicing into the corner, and foul. So Shane Spencer is active, ready to go, and in the lineup tonight. Jim Leyritz is not available to Joe Torre. They had to deactivate Leyritz. Joe Torre didn't enjoy going to tell Jim Leyritz that he wasn't going to be active for this series. That could change if the Yankees move on and play in the next round. That's off the end of the bat into left center field and down for a hit. Spencer is on with 2 out here in the second.
Pretty good piece of hitting with 2 strikes. The good hitters protect the outside part of the plate. And when you do that, good things happen. That is a good pitch by Merker. Better hitting by Spencer.
Hey, you can see how he bent over at the waist, extending his upper body out over the plate so he could reach that changeup that was down and away from him, get enough of the bat on it to hook it back into left.